I can also confirm today that I have reasonable grounds to believe, on the basis of evidence collected and examined by my office, that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Minister of Defense Yoav Gallant bear criminal responsibility for the following international crimes committed on the territory of the State of Palestine from at least the 8th of October 2023. The crimes include starvation of civilians as a method of warfare, willfully causing great suffering, serious injury to body or health or cruel treatment, willful killing or murder, and intentionally directing attacks against a civilian population, as well as crimes against humanity of extermination and or murder, persecution, and allegations of crimes of committing other inhumane acts.
Welcome to Uncommon Courtesy.
We give you the courtesy of conversation
that's uncommonly spoke of.
I'm D-Mac.
I'm Wesley.
And this is the show. The video you saw before we started, actually before we get started, please like, listen, subscribe, and hit that bell button so you can keep up with our latest news takes. The video you just saw was a prosecutor from the ICC, that's the International Criminal Court, announces application for the arrest warrant in relations to Benjamin Netanyahu and Yoav Gallant in the context of the situation of the state of Palestine. Now they're charging him with basically they want to charge him with high crimes of torture and war crimes. Like we've been speaking on this show many of times. We've been giving you in-depth coverage here of what's going on in Gaza, and now the International Criminal Court has seen enough footage where it's time to arrest him.
Finally deciding to step up. The ICC is based out of Hague, out of the Netherlands. They made an announcement basically just saying that, this is pretty much the prosecution side of these guys. These are the prosecutors that work for the ICC. These aren't actually the judges. They're just asking to get a warrant for the arrest of.
Yeah.
They can't actually issue one until the judges give them one, which could take weeks, possibly, or even months. But what they're saying is Benjamin Netanyahu and his defense minister Gallant, like you were saying, they're wanting them for basically willful starvation, cutting off water to the Palestinian people, basically using methods of warfare to intentionally and directing warfare against civilians, populations, things of that nature. It's kind of crazy. Crimes against humanity, extermination. They're telling them they're also trying to charge them with extermination. It's been a long time coming. The United States are not wanting to recognize the ICC ability to be able to do this because then they will be able to come after us. I think there's like 124 countries that recognize the ICC because they've also issued an arrest warrant for Putin just last year. They issued an arrest warrant for him as well. So he can't go to countries that recognize the ICC's authority, or else they'll arrest him. And so this is what they'll pretty much avoid those countries. They won't just go into his country and go and get him. So this is what they're going to have to do. But at the same time that they've issued those arrest warrants for those guys, they've also issued arrest warrants for 3 Hamas leaders as well.
Yes.
They issued arrest warrants for Sinwar, which is Hamas's chief in the Gaza Strip, Dief, which is the head of the Al-Qasim Brigade, and Ismail Hayani, the chair of Hamas Political Bureau. All 3 are being held liable for numerous crimes like rape, murder, taking hostages, as well as numerous other crimes. So, I mean, it's not just a one-sided thing. They're not just attacking simply Benjamin Netanyahu, but they do understand that something needs to be done. This is who I believe that South Africa went to.
Yes.
Which is and also Egypt, I think, signed on with these guys as well. So we'll see where this goes, but I'm hoping that it doesn't really have any legs, but it has bite as far as the international community is concerned, the way they view you. So I do think that will be some kind of a help for them. But this is it's a huge revelation. I believe that a lot of lawmakers are talking to the White House, telling them they need to step in and say something about this. I believe that even Gallant, who had asked to step away from who told Netanyahu that he was going to step down from being the defense minister if he didn't come up with a plan to leave. He even kind of is backing Netanyahu right now, but he has to because his name's on that warrant.
Exactly. And that's the whole thing. His war cabinet has been threatening to leave because they see what's coming. They're like, look, we're going to be charged with war crimes for what we have done to these people.
Yeah.
You know, you can't keep saying, oh, these women and children are part of Hamas, so you can go just relentlessly killing them all. We're seeing the videos. We've seen the pictures. And they said they have evidence from eyewitnesses, people that are Palestinian, people that aren't Palestinian, people from different countries have seen the atrocities that are going on right now.
I mean, yeah, they got the thing where Israel blew up like a convoy, like a aid convoy that people were coming out to, killed 100 Palestinians, just killed them. You know what I mean? They got the 7 world kitchen workers that they killed as well. It's cut and dry. It's a cut and dry case of people really wanted to prosecute it, but America doesn't want to step into this because we understand that we commit war crimes all the time. All the time. You know, so there's no way an American president would ever want to say, okay, yeah, let's give this place some credence to say they can actually come and do this. So, you know, we'll see what happens, but it's a good first step towards the world community starting to kind of point the finger at where the finger needs to be pointed, you know?
Yeah. Then also, just in, 3 Americans are accused of being involved in a failed coup attempt in the Congo that left multiple people dead. According to the Democratic Republic of Congo military, they stopped an attempted coup near the presidential palace. Among the 50 people who were involved were 3 Americans who have been arrested. A passport for one of these Americans is now spreading online. 36-year-old U.S. citizen born in Maryland. U.S. ambassador to Congo, Lucy Tomlin, has acknowledged the involvement of the U.S. citizen in recent statements. The coup was allegedly led by U.S.-based Congolese politician Christine Malanga. He was killed in a presidential palace after he resisted arrest.
I mean, they were going to kill him anyways. He was done. Just for even trying to bring a coup against the government. It almost gives vibes of like
Haiti.
Did America send this guy in? He obviously was he wasn't armed well enough to make this coup a reality. But you're American based. You're bringing American people with you. I'm not sure who these guys were, who you convinced to go in there with you, but we just spoke about Congo and what's going on over there. Are they trying to overthrow that government just basically simply off the fact that they know that they have cobalt and other
they have a lot of material, a lot of materials.
Did we send this guy in there? That's kind of what I'm kind of getting the vibes of on this right here a little bit. That's just me. That's just my conspiratorial theory. But at the same time, whether there's smoke, there's normally fire. You know.
Yeah. So we'll keep everybody updated on that one as it develops more.
Another thing I really wanted to step into really quickly, just stepping back into the Iran thing that happened, you know, as far as the Iranian president dying yesterday in that plane crash, in that helicopter crash. What's a really big thing right now is Iran is really running into a lot of problems economically, and they're really having a lot of internal strife. But people are saying, like they said, those aircraft that they are using, they're like 40, 50 years old. You know, and they can't really get parts for them. So they're almost, the Iranian government is kind of blaming the United States for the sanctions that we put on them for them not being able to repair these aircraft they had. These aircraft first came out in 1968, you know, and the last time they were made is 1989. And you have your president flying in one of these aircraft right here. You haven't been able to get parts for 50 years, not directly from the source of this. And what they're also saying is Iran right now is going like inflation in Iran in 2016 was at 10%. Right now it's at 40% just due to sanctions. And right now over 50% of the people that some are saying are living in poverty. It's gotten to a point to where like people don't really understand like the gravity of this situation. That's why so many people are kind of, even Fox Business News said it has a little bit of a smell of something where something could be up about this. Yes, we see the aircraft was old, but at the same time, the timing of it is just it's too impeccable.
And it's crazy how just the one went down and the other two didn't even double back for him or anything. Like, I mean, anything could have been possible. They could have sabotaged the helicopter before it took off. They could have shot it while it was in the air. You know, mission complete.
This is what they're really saying. Iran has the second largest natural gas resources in the entire world. 4th largest oil reserves, the huge deposits of copper, coal, and iron oil. But they're unable to get technology from the global markets due to the fact that they have all these sanctions on them. Another big thing that people are pushing back against are women in Iran are not really given any rights at all. They all have to wear their hijab in public. Like I remember we made a comment about that. You know, I think it's the hijab in public.
Yeah.
They can't ride bicycles. They can't become judges or public officials. Can't travel without the permission of like whoever their overseer or whatever you want to call them are. You know, the right to expression in the country is limited. The right to protest is none. You know what I mean? So right now they're having a lot of internal strife within that country, and so this is why I think this is such a poignant kind of topic to talk about right now, because we don't know where this is going to go. You know, the Supreme Leader is 85 years old. The Vice President just stepped into the new president's role. They said in 50 days, they're going to have a new election for president. The last election was the lowest turnout they've had ever for a presidential election, because they kicked out so many of the opposition leaders, because a lot of them were anti this Sharia law, which runs their whole entire court system. Because this is kind of the way they run their country, based off of like Islamic kind of law. And so,
I've seen the pictures of old, like I believe it was Iran in the 80s, when the women were allowed to wear, wear dresses and show skin. And it's crazy how, women are so restricted in that country. And, the Republicans here in America are like, that's what I want.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it. Once the king was overthrown, kicked out
Republican lawmakers, excuse me, not their constituents,
not their constituents so much. But I mean, are they the constituents though? I mean, you're voting for it. You're voting for what they're saying. This is,
Well, I mean, people aren't really getting a chance. When people get a chance to vote for or against abortion, the majority usually support it. It's usually the people passing laws. They don't give the people a chance to vote on it. They say, hey, you can't have an abortion if you're 2 days pregnant.
They got one right now where it's basically 12 weeks, where a woman's like, we don't even know in 12 weeks, you don't even know
if you're pregnant or not. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. You know what I mean? Sometimes, but and so that's a huge thing. I just really wanted to bring that point up, because right now it's a critical situation. They're already over there. They're trying to get nukes right now. I know
they're trying to make Kegels illegal, probably.
It's crazy, bro. Another thing, in Taiwan. In Taiwan, new president William Lai Ching-te delivered a defiant message to China after he was sworn in earlier today. President Ching-te, I also want to urge China to stop intimidating Taiwan politically and militarily, and to take on the global responsibility with Taiwan to work hard on maintaining peace and stability across the Taiwan Strait and in the region, to ensure the world is without fear of war breaking out. In response, Beijing told Taiwan independence is a dead end. China has announced sanctions against a number of U.S. companies involved in arms sales to Taiwan. So this is another, these are all flashpoints for us that we really are looking at right there. This is something that we've talked about before previously, and it's just not looking too good. This might end up being another Ukraine for us.
Yeah, another conflict,
It may end up being a lot swifter, go a lot swifter than it did in Ukraine, but
because Taiwan's an island. There ain't too many places you can go.
It's 80 to 100 miles off the coast of China. We may not be able to even get there in time. They send enough vessels. One other quick thing too, the man who broke into Nancy Pelosi's home and attacked her husband was sentenced to 30 years today. In California, the man who broke into the home of then House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and attacked her 82-year-old husband with a hammer has been sentenced to a total of 30 years in prison. During the trial, David DePape admitted he wanted to take Nancy Pelosi hostage to interrogate her, but she wasn't home when he broke into her home just before the 2022 midterm elections.
And that was crazy. Remember they were trying to say, oh, him and her, that guy and the husband had a gay relationship, and they were trying to throw all kind of stuff out instead of just, politics. You can have different in politics and stuff, but it's like, yo, bro, that shows
what this is, man. Yeah. You see how far this is. When we talk about far left is where you go chain yourself up to a tree. That's far left. Oh my God, they're sitting in front of the truck stop, but don't want to let the trucks go through. Far right is where you go and attack somebody's husband in his home, trying to take her hostage. This is what far right politics gets you, right? Far right politics gets you where a guy drives through a Black Lives Matter protest with his car after already expounding this online, texting this online, gets out, kills a guy, shoots a guy with his gun after he just drove through there with his car, and then gets pardoned.
I feel like
far right politics to me.
I feel far right politics is like, hey, we're going to take away women's rights to abortion and stuff. And then far left politics is like, we're going to take away all the women's achievements in collegiate sports.
Okay, that I can agree with that. Even I can't say far right. Far right to me, man, is
Think about
like,
it, folks. Think about it, folks. I mean,
I'll give
what's
you
the
the far
difference?
left one. I'll give you the far left one. But
Yeah.
I won't even say that's even far right, because that's just right. That's just right leaning politics. That's just what they believe in, is no abortion. They're anti-abortion. Republicans mostly are anti-abortion.
They're not about helping your kids when they're alive. They just want to make sure the skeet makes it to the sheet.
That's a good one right there. I like that one right there.
Yeah.
That's a good.
And before we go, I want to talk about Donald Trump came to Morehouse, or not, excuse me, not Donald Trump. Joe Biden came to Morehouse and gave a speech. Now, a lot of the students didn't want him to show up. They knew what he was doing. Like, yo, you want to come because it's election year. You want to make face to use us as like a political tool, and we're hip to it. We're not about that. Yeah. And they wrote a little letter. I'm going to read a little part of it, and we'll leave it on the screen for people to read it too. It says, peaceful assembly is the core of the Morehouse College social justice tradition. The Morehouse College administration fully supports and defends the right to peacefully protest and express of one's views openly. Our facility area, some of the best social scholars the higher academia have to offer, and they are training the world's next generation of community and industry leaders who will continue our institutional history, making that legacy. The world's frequently quoted, our most famous and beloved alumni, Dr. Martin Luther King. But the world must know that without Morehouse, there would be no Dr. King. It's fitting that a moment of organized, peaceful activism would occur on our campus while the world is watching to continue a crucial conversation. We are proud of the resilient class of 2024 unity and silent protest, ensuring their initially in strategy, communication, and coordination as a 414-person unit. Now, Go ahead.
Well, let me say this. I watched a number of the students turn their backs on Biden. They turned their chairs all the way around and would not face him when he was speaking. I watched another student turn his back, stand up, and put up the black power fist up in the air as well, which I think they have the right to do, and they should do under the circumstances of what's going on in Gaza. But also at the same time, we also need to be mindful of understanding that. I remember when Donald Trump came out and said, I've done more for black people than blah, 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 blah. But okay, now you got to look at the facts right here. I got facts right here. Investing over $7 billion in HBCUs, which includes $3.6 billion for HBCUs through the American Rescue Plan and other COVID relief, $1.6 billion in capital finance debt relief for 45 public and private HBCUs, $1.7 in grant funding to expand academic capacity and provide support for low income. So this is what $7 billion, that's over their 4 years of being there. This is after Donald Trump tried to come out and they had it's about $680-something million they give to HBCUs every year. But he tried to come out and basically veto that before he left office. But a black, I believe it was a black woman who went to a HBCU who was in Congress, came out and stepped up to the plate and made him sign, not made him, but kind of pushed him to sign the bill right before he was getting out of office, because that would have been a death sentence for him. It was already a death sentence for him.
He was trying. He
would have done it under the cloak of darkness if no one would have paid attention to it. But this is letting you know what a person I don't agree with Biden. I know who he is too, but I also know sometimes what you have to do when just like your vice president is black, just like your defense secretary is black. We know what you got to do. Just like you went to a HBCU to give a commencement speech, we know what you got to do. We just got to take better advantage of what we have to do to make you complete the mission of what needs to be done.
We need to ask for tangibles and hold our vote, because the whole thing is people don't understand. When Donald Trump was president, everyone was suffering, and we were just like, hey, you want a seat on the bench? So.
And another thing is too, we don't do that enough. But I don't want us to forget about Jasmine Crockett. I mean, we got to give her airtime for standing up for herself against MTG, which is Marjorie Taylor Greene, which is pretty much the biggest MAGA Republican on besides Donald Trump himself. Marjorie Taylor Greene came out and made a really negative, almost slyly racist comment about Jasmine Crockett, who was a Democrat in the House of Representatives from the state of Texas.
And they're saying that MGT was she seemed like she was drunk. She was intoxicated.
I mean, I watched it too, and it's the way she was talking. You never know. It's a possibility. They did throw that. They did throw that. Had they been drinking around on the panel, she came out and said, "I don't." Jasmine Crockett said to her, "Do you know where we are? Do you know what we're doing?" Right? Because MTG had said something or other.
She asked something, question that had nothing to do with anything.
Who is employing the daughter of the judge on Trump's trial? Does anyone here employing the daughter of the judge, which had nothing to do with what they were there for at the time, which was about, I believe it was about one of Biden's cabinet members who they're trying to impeach or something or other. But she asked a question that had nothing to do with that. Jasmine Crockett said, do you know why we're here? She said, I don't think, MTG comes back. I don't think you know why we're here. With your big, I think your big eyebrow, your big
eyelashes
are all fluttering in the way, getting in the way of you. And the greatest comment came after that. I'm gonna let you, unless you want me to say it.
She said, so is it like we're not supposed to be talking bad? So hopefully I quoted it right. She's like, so I can't call her a bleach blonde, bad built body bitch. Basically is what she wanted to say. She wanted to. And then you see the people like, the one guy was like, I don't even know what that means. What does that? Yeah, he's like, what does that even mean? Yeah, and the guy next to him was like,
just laughing. They all know, man, because she started it first, and then they asked her to retract it. AOC came to her defense, flashed on her. It really came and said, "Baby girl." She came to her defense in a whole.
Yeah, and they're trying to. You hear the one guy though? He was like, I don't know. He was making fun of her too, but his jokes were so sliding on her. He's like, I don't know why the gentle lady is acting up like this, and he said it twice. I was like, dang.
I'm gonna tell you right now, what I want us to really watch though is I want people to go back and watch Brian Donalds. I want them to go watch him. He's a Republican House member from Florida. This is who they give a lot of credit to. I'm not going to say he's an intelligent individual. I think he's on the finance committee as well. I'm not sure of that. That's not the finance committee right there, but I think he's on the finance committee as well. He has a background in finance in college. But I want people to go back and watch him. When Marjorie Taylor Greene says what she says, he turns his back and tries to chuckle like he's laughing, like he don't want people to see him laughing. But to me, you're going to laugh at a Black woman getting made fun of about something that that these people genuinely, I'm surprised she didn't say something about her hair. I'm surprised she didn't say something about her hair.
Yeah, but I mean, she roasted her back, but then they're getting mad at her reaction. You know what? In America, you have the freedom of speech. You can say whatever you want, but you don't have the freedom of consequence. So you can't say something side. And people, I see that a lot online. People will sit there and they'll talk hella crazy to a celebrity. Then the celebrity will say something back to them and hurt their feelings. Like, you can't talk to me like that. Yes, I can.
Yeah. Yes,
I can.
Absolutely.
You talk to me sideways, I'm gonna get sideways.
They asked her to apologize, and in decorum, she agreed to doing it, and then she didn't do it. So she said, hey, let me can I get a point of reference? So if I were to say this about her, then is this fine? And she's like, oh, we're not doing Marjorie Taylor Greene, we're not doing this. Oh, well, you just did it.
You just did it. Exactly. Sounds like a drunk to me.
Byron Donalds, go back and watch what he did. I want us to pay attention to him because he has an opportunity. He has an opportunity to possibly, he won't be the VP, but he has a big chance of growing in the Republican Party. I want us to pay attention to him and see him for who he really is as well.
Yeah. Well, let us know what y'all think in the comments. Like, listen, subscribe. This is Uncommon Courtesy.